So there's the dogs. That's Girly, and that's Red. And this is like the second time they've come out and just stayed outside. They've been really sick. Well, Girly, the white one here, has been really sick for a while since we've gotten her. And within the last couple of days, she has really perked up and gotten a lot happier and coming out here, rolling in the dirt. They played for a little bit with each other, you know, kind of bouncing off each other, running around the yard. But Girly, she would just sleep under the bed. That's all she would do. She wouldn't come out from there except to go to the bathroom, drink some water. I mean, she was even fed underneath the bed, but now she's out here. So, and I think, well, Carolyn and I think that we gave her some mullein. It's a tea. You can buy it in a vitamin form also, but it's just a tea, and it reduces inflammation. And we think it also helps with like lung inflammation. She was coughing really bad, and she's not coughing near as bad now. Maybe once or twice a day she'll come up with a cough. But so between the coughing and the skin irritation and the flea medicine, I think that she is starting to get to a point where she can have a little bit better quality of life. And we're just doing the best we can. You know, if we took them to the vet, well, I know for a fact, we already kind of looked into it, it would cost us several $1,000s. And we're just not going to spend that much on them. And I know there's trolls out there. I don't know if they're trolls. They may actually be legitimate people. One person said, if you're going to take on the responsibility of the dog, then you have to take on the entire responsibility. So I guess that line of thinking is well, since I can't take on the entire responsibility, I should just let them starve to death. Which is exactly what was going to happen to Red. She was a day or two away from dying. And when she came up, she wasn't quite as skinny as Red, but still really underfed. Now, we think she's older, so it's her recovery's been, you see, I say slower. I don't think it's been slower. What it was is Red came up here, you know, in the springtime, and she was eating every other day. She'd come up here every other day and eat. So her recovery took place all over the summer, all throughout the summer. She didn't show up until like last month and a half ago. So her recovery just now got started, but it's progressing quickly. And Carolyn just babies these guys. I just didn't ever think that Carolyn was this kind of person, but boy, she has just spoiled them rotten. Fixes their food up 3 times a day, and she'll hand feed them if they're not wanting to eat. And so she really takes care of them really well. She's starting to get up on the bed more and more. She was just staying underneath the bed, but she came up a couple times yesterday. She's been up there once already today. And the thing is when she got up there in the past, she'd jump right back down. But yesterday, she stayed up there most of the day. So I know they're laying here right now, and you really don't get to see how much they recovered, but they have recovered a lot. She wouldn't come out except to go to the potty. And then she'd go right back in and underneath the bed. Now, she is much more energetic, but she was staying outside also, or inside also. And her skin condition is getting better too, we've noticed. So Carolyn has just babied these guys. But they're still kind of skittish. And, you know, we tried to put them on the leash yesterday, which in order to take them to a vet, we'd have to have them on the leash. And they weren't going to have that. That was just not acceptable. So she's up, she's walking, sniffing, ears perked up. Really happy to have them around. She watches me like a hawk. And then that's basically Carolyn's dog there. She got up on the bed last night, and I went to the bathroom, and came back last night. I don't know what time it was. Let's say it was midnight, and I went to the bathroom and came back to bed, and she was on my pillow. But she knows she can't stay there, so she moved over, and I pet her to let her know that she wasn't in trouble. And she just dropped right next to where I was supposed to lay. And boy, all night long, she just kept pressing harder and harder and harder up against me, to the point that most of her body weight was on top of me when my alarm went off at 4:30. So normally, if you touch her, she moves. But not last night. She wasn't going to have any moving. See, this just never happened in the past. I know it's hard to understand, but her moving from one spot to the next, that just wouldn't have happened. When she first got here, she laid on the porch until evening time, and then she went up underneath the camper. She didn't move at all. But she was digging in the dirt a little bit ago. Maybe you can see. She's been digging and being a dog. Very unusual. So, glad to see they're getting healthier. But like I said, I know a lot of people seem to think I gotta. So, if I were to take one of these dogs to the vet, I think it would cost $2,500. And you got to remember, I have a bad eye that I still need to get fixed, which is $3,000. And I just cannot justify in my head that I'm going to give up my eye repair to spend $2,500 on one dog. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm just the worst person in the world. The way I see it, they wouldn't be around. They would have starved to death. So, you know, I think the worst person in the world was the person who said, I'll take care of them. See, what it was is the guy owned them. At least this is the story that we're getting. We're not entirely sure, but there was an old man that had them, and he got cancer. So somebody else said, well, I'll take care of them. So he took care of them. Well, there was some sort of dispute in town about selling equipment and to feed the dogs, you know, the old man's equipment, and they got all upset about that. And so the guy said, fine, I won't take care of them. So another guy said, well, I'll take care of them. But he only lives here part-time. He lives here, and then he lives in Washington, either Washington or Oregon. Well, he was locking them up behind a gate when he was gone. So nobody could feed them. Now, maybe I you know, try to think the best of people, the best you can. Maybe somebody said, oh, I'll take care of them while you're gone, and didn't. What I do know is the guy who said, you know, was taking care of them and lives in Washington, did bring us 3 bags of food and said thank you for taking them up. But what it was, at least this is what I think happened, is Red got out of the cage, of the fenced-in yard. And she kept coming up here every other day, but then she'd go back down there to make sure that Girly was okay. Like I said, Girly was in better shape when she came up here as far as weight loss than Red. So she must have been getting some sort of food, but not enough. And then finally, Girly got out. And both of them came up here, and they started spending more and more time up here. Well, I would imagine they came up every day, if I recall. They'd leave at night, but then they got to where they were staying at night, and then Skitty died, so they came in, and now they listen. They don't even go up on the road. Before, we had to yell at them all the time because they go up on the road. Of course, you know, people were honking at them, and that's dangerous. So all I got to say is no. I don't want to say it too loud. All I got to do is say no, come back, and they come right back. But now they don't even go up there. So they're well behaved. They don't bark at anybody. They'll bark in the house if somebody walks up on the porch. That's about the only time they get excited. And when we leave and come back, they're very excited to know that, you know, we're back. They both come outside, check on us. So, but we don't leave that often. I'm sure there's quite a bit of anxiety when we leave. So I guess I'll jump off of here. I don't have much else to talk about. So if you'll click this up next box to take the video over to my other channel. So if I can inspire you to do the best you can, so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.